What's going on, people, and welcome back to the long-awaited return of player versus player. I used to love doing these. The setting has obviously changed. I used to do it on a whiteboard on the wall, but because of different things changing, I haven't got the whiteboard on the wall now, so I'm going to be just sat here doing it. I will read out the categories and then basically give who wins it in my opinion out of each thing, and then we tally up the totals at the end to see who comes out on top. First up for the return of this then, I've got Kai Havertz versus Alexander Isak. And first up we got goals. Now, very interestingly, this is just Premier League career goals. There's only one in it. So off the bat, it's tight as hell. The interesting thing is, now you've got to take into things like injuries into account. Havertz has 37 goals, but in 143 appearances. Whereas Isak has 38 goals in 66 appearances. So because he's done it in so less time, and he's had his own injuries as well. Isak, I know Havertz has over the years, but Isak's been injured quite a lot too. He's one ahead over half of the appearances. So the goals I'm going to have to give to Isak because he's done it in quicker time. So Isak for goals. Second up then, we've got dribbling. I don't see Havertz as a dribbler. He's more of a hold-up guy, that sort of focal target man. Whereas Isak can do that, but he's also a little bit more versatile, I think, in terms of his runs off the ball. I think that he does take players on one-on-one, which I don't think Havertz can to the same extent and same level. So Isak for dribbling, so that's 2-0 to Isak. Pace, again, Isak. I think it's clear everyone would say that Isak is quicker than Havertz. I think I'd say Isak's one of the quickest players in the league. So pace is an easy one. Heading, I think Havertz is another level for heading, to be honest. I can't recall off the top of my head, no pun intended, Isak scoring a lot of headers. I can't even think of one at the moment. So I think Havertz is a better header of the ball. So heading for Havertz. Technique, I think they're both pretty good at this in different ways. I think Isak's technique, his first touch, allow him to have that explosiveness a bit more than Havertz. Like, his first touch might be to push the ball out in front of him and just explode with acceleration. Whereas Havertz, he's more of a first touch, hold the ball up or play someone in first time. And so it depends on the style if you're looking at it like that, but I think Havertz has the better technique, if I'm honest. Work rate, nothing against Isak. I don't think he's a lazy player, but I do think he's a little bit more one of them luxury players that sometimes doesn't feel the need to track back or work as hard off the ball. And I think Havertz, considering the stature of his name and like he's won stuff, I don't think he's ever lost that. He's always had that grittiness in him and that hard work rate for me. So Havertz for work rate. Strength, both big guys, both strong. I think there's a lot in it. I would edge it to Havertz, but I don't think there's a lot in this one at all. Leadership, I think Isak is crucial to Newcastle's success. When he's playing and on form, he can drag them through games. So in terms of that, leading by example and scoring vital goals, focal point for the team, he does it that way. I think Havertz, he's definitely improved his goal scoring this season and last. I do think he's got a bit more of character about him that sort of oozes more leadership than I would say Isak. So for leadership, I would go with Havertz, and obviously he's a bit more experienced than Isak, playing for Germany as well. He's a big name, Havertz, and I think that his leadership qualities are a bit better than Isak. Vision, again, a little bit tricky for this one because they're players that are usually on the end of that vision instead of them creating it. I have seen them both do it a little bit, and I think for the style of players they are, it's hard, but I would give the edge to Havertz. I think he creates a little bit more than Isak does. Isak's more on the end of things than Havertz is at times, so I would give the vision to Havertz. I feel like he gets a bit more creative and more assists than Isak. Teamwork, again, it ties in a little bit to that vision, so for that sake I would go with Havertz. I just think that he does offer a bit more in terms of creating for his team when you need him to, whereas I think Isak is a little bit more one-dimensional in that sense. He'll be on the end of the attack. So hold-up play, bit of an old-school thing, but because they're both attackers, I feel like you do need to have this in your game to a certain extent, even nowadays. And again, I think Havertz has it in trumps. So Havertz for me for the hold-up play. Next up then we got trophies. Now, before I even look at it, off the top of my head, this one seems to be edging towards Havertz as well. He's won a Champions League, obviously. He's won a Super Cup, a World Club Cup winner as well. He's a Super Cup winner, which I didn't realise he'd won with Arsenal. I didn't remember that. And he's won a German under-17 Bundesliga championship as well, and an under-17s tournament international thing. So yeah, he's got, in terms of that, I'm not going to count the under-17 stuff. I'll just count like the senior career for Havertz. Isak, I'm not actually sure what he's won. So he has won a German Cup with Borussia Dortmund in 2016/17. Under-19s Bundesliga champion and a Spanish Cup winner with Real Sociedad. So I didn't actually know that he'd won a German or Spanish Cup. So 2 for Isak, 4 for Havertz. Havertz with the trophies, which I thought off the top of my head that he'd won more. Lastly, for this player versus player this time, just going off of career at the moment in terms of like, that brings into like the trophies, the goals they've scored, the impact they've made so far, clubs they've been at. I would say that, again, Havertz for me has been at the kind of the bigger clubs, in my opinion. I think he's got a little bit more of a better resume so far than Isak, which doesn't mean to say that Isak can't catch that up or have an even better resume at the end of it when it's all said and done and they're both retired. But for me, so far, currently, the career, the titles, he's won a Champions League, obviously, as well. Havertz, for me, does take it on career so far. Let's count this up. 4 for Isak, 10 for Havertz. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know how you would break it down as well. It'd be interesting to see how you would rank it and their total points. So Havertz is the winner on this one. I'll be back soon with another one. Got 2 more matchups on the list to do at the moment. I think I know what people would prefer, but let me know in the comments. I might even put it as a poll in the community tab. So I've got Salah versus Saka, and one for a less glamorous position, but one that I've always liked because it's vital to the teams that they play in. And it is Caicedo from Chelsea in that holding midfield role against Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle in that holding midfield role. So Salah versus Saka or Caicedo versus Guimaraes. I'll put it in a community tab for you to vote on it. And I'll be back soon with another player versus player. I'm going to be filming my Premier League predictions, so that'll either be dropping tonight or tomorrow. That is coming also. Enjoy your day. In a bit.